Hello friends, welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to talk about the hormonal stock preparation. So many people had requested me to prepare this hormonal stock preparation for tissue culture. So I thought let me do that. So before going into the actual preparation, let me just say you what and all are the hormones, where do we use them and for what purpose we use them. So plant hormones, or we call that as regulators, PGRs, or plant growth regulators. So there are many names for this: phytohormones, plant growth regulators, PGRs. So in different papers you will see in different names. So everything refers to a single thing. They are nothing but the plant growth regulators or the plant hormones or the phytohormones. Now, as I'm saying, it is a plant hormone. They are synthesized by the plant body for their own morphological and physiological reasons, for their growth, for the production of flower, for the production of seed, for the senescence. So for various reasons, plants produces this wide array of plant growth regulators in their body, in their system. So we have extracted them or we have chemically synthesized them. So we have two classes of plant growth regulators. One are the natural plant growth regulators. The other one is the artificial plant growth regulators. So all these things you would have studied in the theoretical concepts. I'm not going into in depth. I'm just mentioning you. In plant tissue culture, so we will add some plant growth regulators for the seed germination, for the production of the plant, or for the callus induction, for based on what is your aim of your project or aim of your research work, we will use different class of plant growth regulators. Generally, we would have studied in theory auxins, cytokinins, gibberellins and ethylene, all those things we would have studied. So usually we use gibberellic acid for seed germination. So if you are in tissue culture, if you are going to inoculate seed and you are going to do in vitro germination and you are going to germinate the seeds, some seed will not germinate directly. You need to add some compounds like gibberellic acid is one compound. So generally we add 3 mg to 5 mg per liter we will add. So we need to prepare a stock of it, then we are going to pipette from the stock. So that is the use of gibberellic acid. So some people use without gibberellic acid also, they can add, they directly seeds will germinate, but for my work I added gibberellic acid for the seed germination process. Then if you are moving on to callus induction, so we have two classes of hormones called as the auxins and cytokinins. So again I am saying you, this is not definite, this is not particularly, I'm just saying you wide example, you have to standardize your own. So I'm generally saying auxins will induce rooting. That doesn't mean that whenever you add auxin you will produce root. So in my case, all the auxin, all the concentrations gave me callus, and all the combinations of cytokinins also gave me callus. So when we add in combinations, when I add less auxins and more cytokinins, high concentration of cytokinin, that will give me shoot. So from the callus, morphogenesis will happen and shoot will be produced. So all these things are, you have, it's like trial and error. You have to do a thorough review of literature and what plant you're working on. So I cannot say generally. So I'm just saying you in general. In particular for your plant, you have to do review of literature and a lot of trial and error method has to be done. So only once after that you can standardize a protocol. So if you are working with callus, initially go with lower concentration to higher concentration. So I will say you how do we take for a tissue culture medium and all, I will say you in a while. So first let me say you how do we prepare stock and what and all hormones do we have. So when you come to auxins, generally what people use: IAA, indole acetic acid; IBA, indole butyric acid; NAA, naphthalene acetic acid; and we use picloram. So this is NAA. So you all get it in high media itself. You get it is in the form of powders. So it is very costly. So please make sure that you use them judiciously and use them properly. Since these are hormones are produced very less in plants, and if you're going to extract them, it is very costly in the commercial aspect, or even if they are chemically synthesized, it is also very laborious process for the production of these hormones. So it is very costly. So I will just show you, this is picloram. This is also comes under auxin itself. So you get in 1 gram, 5 grams. So this you can see, this is all these are side IBA. So indole butyric acid that I mentioned you. So indole butyric acid, indole acetic acid, naphthalene acetic acid, picloram, and you have this is IAA. And so these are some of the 2,4-D, yes, 2,4-D, 2,4 dichlorophenyl acetic acid you will get. So that is also one more auxin. So these 5 auxins are generally used in any tissue culture works or any papers. You would have seen only these 5 hormones with respect to auxin. Now coming to with respect to cytokinins, kinetin is one very important hormone. Kinetin we use. So even this is 1 gram kinetin, and this is 2IP, 2-isopentenyl adenine, we call this as, it is 2IP. You can see this is just 500 mg, that is 0.5 mg, but the cost is 10,773 rupees the cost is. So 500 mg is 0.5 gram. So definitely you can't use all this 0.5 gram. So the bottle will be so big, but inside only 0.5 gram will be there. It is just 500 mg. So only 0.5 gram will be there, but the cost is 10,000. So the hormones are very expensive. We have to use them very carefully and judiciously. So that is why we prepare stock and then we use from this stock. That is the importance of stock. So yeah, we were talking about the cytokinins, kinetin, 2IP, 2-isopentenyl adenine. You have TDZ, thiadenosine, we call it as, and we have BAP, 6-benzyl aminopurine or 6-benzyl adenine. So this is also, it comes around 1,000 rupees this cost is. So everything is above 500 or 1,000 rupees only. Some are very expensive, highly expensive. So you should be knowing properly what to use and how to use, for what reason you are using. So these are the few hormones that I wanted to show you. So you get it in the form of, or you get it in the form of powders, you get it. Now, to prepare a stock, what is the concentration of the stock that is required? Either you can prepare a stock of 1 mg per ml. So that is one condition, one stock 1 mg per ml you can prepare, or 10 mg per ml you can prepare. So two options. Generally we prepare this itself. So here I have all prepared in 1 mg per ml stock I have prepared. So the name itself says 1 mg. If I take 1 mg of the hormone, I will take 1 ml of solvent. So solvent, what I have chosen is distilled water. It is soluble in distilled water. We have to just add NaOH or KOH or HCl we will add. So I will say you later. So 1 mg per ml is the stock that I prepare. Only for glyceric acid, gibberellic acid, Ga3, which we call gibberellic acid, is insoluble in water. So I have used 70% ethanol to prepare this gibberellic acid, and I have prepared 10 mg per ml stock, higher concentration of stock I have prepared. So whenever you are doing any chemical analysis, if you are watching my video, repeatedly I will be saying you, just go and study its physical properties of the chemical molecule. For example, if you take picloram, so what is the molecular weight of picloram? What is its color? What is it soluble in? First you have to check that. Everything is available in internet nowadays. So or else what we will do, we will think it is soluble in water. I will take this and I will dissolve it in water, but it will not be soluble in water. So that compound gets wasted, that chemical gets wasted. Like this I have experienced so many things, and then that is why I am saying you. Now whatever chemical you are preparing, let it be for tissue culture, biochemical assays, or any other project work, first go and study it. Where should it be stored? Should it be stored in room temperature? In some cases what will happen, you will prepare it, you will store it in room temperature, but after a while it gets precipitated or it gets denatured. Some solutions you have to use it within 24 hours or maximum within 48 hours you have to use it. Some chemicals you have to prepare them freshly whenever you require, then only you have to prepare them. So that is why it is mandatory. Please do go study some of the chemical aspects, physical properties of that compound, whether it is soluble in water or soluble in which condition, at what temperature it is soluble. Some if you cannot boil some compounds, because when you boil they get denatured. So only up to 40 or 50 you can boil them. So check that. Some will be soluble in lower pH in acidic condition. Some will be soluble in higher pH. So please do go check them. So especially in case of hormones, you have a list itself. So I will just show you the list. You can download it from internet itself. So please make sure you download that list and you file it and keep. So you can give it for your lab mates also, or you can use it whenever you want also, you can use it. See, this is one PDF file that I got from Sigma Aldrich. So like how we have iMedia, Sigma Aldrich is also another famous company. So in internet, this protocol is given. So you can see they have given a list of all the plant growth regulators, in which solvent they are soluble, in what temperature you have to store them, and whether it is autoclavable or not. So all that they are mentioned. So this is how you get a PDF. Please do download it and you can refer this. So you get a list of plant growth regulators over here for auxins, cytokinins, everything you get it. So this is from Sigma Aldrich. Similarly, there is another thing also I downloaded, because just to make sure that double references I got. So this is from Phytotechnology Laboratories. So you can get it from here also. So they are given in detail what are polyamines and what are stock, in what concentration do we prepare stock, what solvent to use. So in detail they are given for all the hormones they have given. So which hormones can be autoclaved, which hormones should be filter sterilized, all those things they have given it. So how do we store them, all those things they are given, how do you order them, and whether it is a solid form or a liquid form, everything is mentioned. So please do go download this, take a file and store it for your reference itself. It will be really helpful. So this is one important thing that I wanted to show you all. So first thing, whenever you're going to do hormonal stock, you have to remember in mind how much stock to prepare, whether you require 10 ml or whether you require 20 ml or 50 ml. Please don't make in excess and keep it. The other batch of students will never use it, because all the hormones has to be freshly prepared by yourself. Don't go and take the hormone whichever is prepared by others, your seniors or somebody else, and use it. So whenever you are doing your work, you prepare freshly, and how much ever you require. For example, if you require 10 ml for your 6-month work or for PhD work or research work, prepare 10 ml. If it is over, you can prepare again and keep it. Don't prepare for 100 ml, 50 ml and don't waste it. So it gets denatured, its activity gets reduced. So if you take somebody whoever has prepared 1 year back, 2 year back, and if you use them, there are high chances that results what he got and what you got will be different, because after 2 years its activity reduces. That is one important thing that you have to remember. So quickly, before demonstrating you what and all you have to keep in mind when you are preparing the hormones, let me repeat it again. The stock concentration is very, very important, 1 mg per ml or 10 mg per ml, and the volume, you require 10 ml or 50 ml or 20 ml, that is very important. First thing. Next, second thing is, see in which they are soluble, water or methanol or gibberellic acid. Like gibberellic acid is soluble in ethanol, so you have to make this solvent. So in which solvent it is soluble, please make sure that solvent you have them. Then you start for preparation. Then, as I said you, some hormones, whatever I am going to show you now, all these hormones are water soluble. Just you need to add them either HCl or NaOH. For some you will be adding HCl, for some you will be adding NaOH. So in this chart everything is given, you can refer this chart. So you need HCl and NaOH. So prepare. So here also I will give you two options. Either you can prepare 1 molar NaOH, 1 molar HCl, or lesser you can prepare 0.5 molar NaOH, 0.5 molar HCl you can prepare. So many of you are asking me to explain how do we prepare molarity solutions. So I will definitely make a video. So next, after 2 or 3 immediate videos, I will make sure that I give you that calculation part also. So NaOH 1 molar, 1 molar HCl, these two things I have prepared. Some 50 ml I have prepared it, and you can prepare this also freshly after it is over. So this too is also required whenever you are preparing any hormonal solution. And of course distilled water is required. If you're taking solvent like for gibberellic acid, ethanol is required. And please make a label saying that ethanol is the solvent, because after you do some 10 or 12 hormonal solutions, you will completely forget which solution you have prepared, which solvent you have prepared. Or if I'm giving this to somebody else, they will open the cap and they leave it, all the ethanol will get evaporated and the stock will get too concentrated. So there is some calculation errors like that. So always make sure that write a proper labeling. So if you see any of my solutions, I will write it properly: gibberellic acid 10 mg per ml stock, and it is filter sterilized. So I cannot open and show you like this because it is filter sterilized. And also I mentioned that dissolved in 70% ethanol, close the cap immediately. So it is for my own use also, or if I am giving it for somebody else also, they will know it. And the date also I have written 17/1/2021. So the date also I mentioned over here. So this is what you're going to write in the labels properly. So if you see any label, you would have seen all these things that I have written and kept it. So now I'll just show you one hormone, how to prepare. That remains same for everything. But if you're preparing IAA and IBA, they are photosensitive. You have to make sure you are doing everything in dark condition, and like how we did for DPPH, make sure that it is kept in dark condition, and cover this with aluminium foil. I have covered it with aluminium foil, and I have wrapped a tape or food wrapping tape or sellotape. You can do it and you can wrap it. So these are highly light sensitive. Please don't expose it to light. Its activity will get reduced. Do little by little, use it, then prepare fresh stock whenever you require it. So this is one more thing that I wanted to say you. IAA, IBA is light sensitive. For that matter, you can actually cover everything with aluminium foil. There is no harm in it. So if you are having aluminium foil with you or normal any plastic sheet with you where the light will not penetrate, you can just cover all your hormones with aluminium foil. Then on that you can label it, which hormone is it, what concentration, and the date of preparation is very, very important. So this is IAA, IBA, everything is 1 mg per ml stock only. So this is NAA, naphthalene acetic acid, 2,4-D, 2,4 dichlorophenol acetic acid this is, and we have picloram. So picloram has been over, so I will show you, I will prepare picloram and I will show you. This is all comes under your auxins. Coming to cytokinins, kinetin, you can see clear solution. It should be like this. It should be a clear solution. When you see it against the light, you should have a clear solution, homogeneous solution. Kinetin, this is BAP6, BAP, benzyl aminopurine or benzyl adenine, we call it as 2IP and TDZ. So you get falcon tubes like this. You can store them tightly and store them in cold temperature. Store them at 4 degrees Celsius or lesser than 4 degrees also fine. If you're keeping it in deep freezer, they will all get solidified. So you just keep it outside for room temperature for 20-30 minutes. After that melts, then you can use it for your media. If you're keeping it at 0 degrees Celsius, I mean the freezer box in the refrigerator, or deep freezer -21. So if you're keeping there, it gets solidified. Allow it to keep it in room temperature 30 minutes before it, let it melt, then you add it to the media. Or else generally I store it at 4 degrees Celsius. In the lower portion of the fridge you can store it, refrigerator or cold room you can store it. 4 degrees Celsius is ideal temperature to store it. So now let us prepare picloram. Yes, so for preparation of picloram, so I said to you it is 1 mg per ml. So if I am taking 1 mg, so I have to take 1 ml of water. It becomes very difficult to weigh 1 mg per ml. So I will require lots of picloram for my work. So I am going to prepare 50 ml. I am going to prepare 50 ml. I am going to prepare. That means I should take 50 mg. I have to take. So it is 1 mg per ml stock. So 50 mg, 50 ml of distilled water I am going to take. So 50 mg. Now if you convert 50 mg, you cannot weigh 50 mg in weighing balance because it is in the form of grams. So 1 gram has 1000 mg. So 50 mg is nothing but 0.05 grams. So I have weighed accurately 0.05 grams and I have transferred that into a glass beaker like this. So I hope you can see this. 50 mg is this, 0.05 grams I have taken. So for this I am going to add 50 ml of distilled water. 50 ml of distilled water or deionized water, you can add them. So this is 25 ml. Please don't add all 50 ml at once. So you add 25 ml of water and you mix it well using a glass rod or using a stirrer. You mix it well, it will not dissolve. See, this is the beauty of chemistry, I would like to say you. It will not dissolve if you are not adding NaOH. It requires alkaline medium for it dissolve. So you can see here it is not a clear solution. You can find it. It's not a clear solution. So you can see the molecules are not dissolved. But the minute I add NaOH, everything gets dissolved. So that is the beauty of chemistry over here. So we have to admire that. So this is the NaOH. So when I add a bit of NaOH, a clear solution without any precipitate, when I add few drops, maybe 2-3 drops or 4 drops is enough. So that is why I said you don't add all 50 ml of distilled water at one stretch. So we are going to add NaOH. We don't know how much of NaOH we are going to use. So just add little by little, then you have to make it up. Always make it up to 50 ml. So again some more I am going to add. See, when compared to previously, now it has dissolved a bit, but still more is there. So take a glass rod and mix it properly. Don't try to heat it. If you want, you can just heat it to lukewarm temperature or warm temperature. That is enough. Maybe 30-40 degrees enough. But it will usually dissolve. Just that you have to keep on mixing it and you have to keep on adding it NaOH. So this somewhat this amused me. This is something related to chemistry. We have to admire all these things. So with normal water it is insoluble, but the moment I add NaOH it starts dissolving. So some more NaOH is required. So I have almost added some 10 drops. Another 5 more drops I am going to add. See, it is completely dissolving now. So when compared to previously, now you can see this, it is completely dissolved and a clear solution is obtained. Another 3-4 drops, everything will be clear. Now make it up to 50 ml after adding all this NaOH. There are just 2 or 3 salts are there, that is also getting dissolved. So you have to just keep on shaking it vigorously. Just another 2 drops is enough. See, in this case, I prepared one normal NaOH. That itself took some 12 to 15 drops I have added so far for 50 ml. If you prepare 0.1 normal NaOH, then I have to add almost 10 to 20 ml I should have added. So that is why it is good that you prepare higher concentration and lower concentration as well. Prepare 0.5 ml or 1 molar like this also you can prepare. In both lower and higher concentrations you can prepare it. So this was really helpful. If you prepare higher concentration, just few drops, 10 to 15 drops is enough. If I prepared 0.1 molar or 0.5 molar, I have to add 5 to 10 ml I should have added. So yes. So now you can see such beautiful clear solution has been obtained. So there's not even a single hormone that has not been dissolved. Every hormone has been dissolved over here. So again, against dark background you can keep and see everything has dissolved. So this is the beauty of your NaOH. Instead of NaOH you can use KOH also, just that you need alkaline medium over there. So if you are having NaOH you use NaOH, if you are having KOH you can use KOH, anything is fine. So for few hormones you need NaOH or KOH, few hormones you need HCl. So if you refer this chart that I showed you, in that everything is mentioned clearly, but as far as I know, whatever I have used, everything I have used NaOH itself, maybe 1 or 2 I have used HCl. So now a clear solution has been formed now. So now I have to make this up to 50 ml and I have to store it. So now after it has clearly dissolved, let me make it up to 50 ml. So I have made 50 mg and 50 ml of distilled water I am going to take. So add little more water to this itself and rinse this 2 to 3 times because some solution will be still left over here. Rinse this 2 to 3 times and then make it up. Another 5 more ml is required. And when you are seeing this calibration also, measuring, whenever you are using burette and pipette, or whenever you are using measuring cylinders like this, keep it up to your eye contact. Don't keep it too high or don't keep it too low and see like this. So always keep it in your hand and keep it in your eye level like this and then measure. That is the correct accuracy. So try to minimize the errors. Whenever you are preparing the hormonal stock, it has to be accurate. So there should not be even a single mg extra or less. There should not be a single ml extra or less. So it has to be that accurate to reduce your errors. So now the hormonal stock is ready. We can transfer it. I have a bigger Falcon tube. I will transfer there also little and here also little, and I will store it. So after I store this, there is some more left. I will store it in the bigger 50 ml Falcon tube also, and I will use that. So this is all, my dear friends, how do we prepare the hormonal stock solution. And one more very important thing is, these hormones can be autoclaved. There are some hormones which you cannot autoclave them because at such high degree, at 121 degrees Celsius and at such high Pascal of pressure, the hormone gets denatured and its activity gets reduced. So in this chapter, in this file itself, and that they have given description which are autoclavable, which are not autoclavable, which are filter sterilized, or which are co-autoclavable. So very quickly I will mention you that. So as I said you, gibberellic acid cannot be autoclaved, so you have to use filter sterilization method. It is good if you are using filter sterilization method to sterilize all the hormones. So what is filter sterilization? How do we use them? If you want to know all those things, I'll give you the link in the description. I have made a video on filter sterilization in depth and in detail. I have demonstrated you. Please do go watch that video. So it is good, it is advised if you can do filter sterilization for all the hormones. And these hormones, though these hormones are co-autoclavable, we'll say them co-autoclavable. Whatever I said you, the cytokinins, the auxins, whatever I mentioned you, all these are co-autoclavable. What do I mean by co-autoclavable? It can be autoclaved, but its activity definitely will be reduced a bit. Its entire activity will not be reduced, some 10 to 20% activity will be reduced. So such compounds or such hormones are called as co-autoclavable. So in the chart it will be mentioned as Ca, co-autoclavable, but its activity will be reduced. But fine, I got good result. I have autoclaved this. Whenever I add it to the media, I autoclave the media. So it is like it's giving good result. But some hormones cannot be autoclaved at all. Its complete activity will be lost, like gibberellic acid. So you have to filter sterilize them. So some are co-autoclavable, some are completely autoclavable. Its activity will never be reduced at all. So you can autoclave them. So please make sure whenever you are using in the media, which hormone you are going to add, in what concentration we are going to add, and whether it should be autoclaved or filter sterilized it. So now coming to the end of this video. Now how much should I add this to my media? That is your question. Now see, usually if you refer any papers, we start from 0.1 mg per liter. From 0.1 mg per liter, you can add 0.1, 0.2, 0.5, 1 mg per liter, 2 mg per liter. The highest so far paper uses 5 mg per liter. So usually people will not go beyond 5 mg per liter until unless there is a proper evidence. That's all. So from 0.1 mg per liter, I'm talking 0.1 mg per liter to 0.51 to 5 mg per liter you can add. So generally if you're doing a PhD work, we have to do standardization. So we will add different concentrations. We will add different concentration of auxins, different concentrations of cytokinins. Then we will combine this both. So lower cytoauxin, lower auxin, higher cytokinin, then lower cytokinin, higher auxin. Like this we will manipulate, permutation, combination we will do. We will add it in different combinations. So for my work I have almost done some 120 to 130 combinations I have added of different auxins and cytokinins I have added for my PhD work. So it is left to your work, whatever work you are doing, you have to standardize like that and you have to proceed. So this is how we add for we prepare stock solution and we add for our media, store it in room temperature, prepare freshly. You can use this for 3 to 6 months or 1 year maximum you can use it. So prepare as and then it is recommended to prepare freshly and filter sterilize them if it is possible. If you are doing in large, if it is not possible, then you can autoclave them. They are co-autoclavable. So I hope this method is very clear. If you had liked this video, if it was useful to you, do give a thumbs up and share this with your friends and colleagues, and do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.